This is kind of interesting here. How do we want to do this? I'm going to get jammed on a lot. I might actually limp here. So it's pretty unorthodox. You know, one of these guys might isolate and make it like 8,000, and then we can actually shove. And if he does shove, we get to kind of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We get to kind of risk less. I think if I raised, I wasn't going to fold, not pocket sixes, but it would have been borderline, you know. Whereas now all we've done really is lost a BB. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty close. It's not a play I would normally make, and I still think it's kind of close because it's 38, you know. But I just feel, and this is a situation I get put in a lot in the final table, and you know, if you call them in the pot, then you're chip leader and you're a genius. But I kind of feel that it's a little bit of a little bit crippling to our stack is what I find. I just think if I want to limp again, probably don't want to overdo it with the limping. It's probably a little bit risky too. Now they snap fold. Yeah, I think that the thing is that we're in a decent position, you know. We've got position on the bigger stacks, and we've still got a decent M size. I think I will just check back here. My first instinct was kind of, okay, let's 3-bet it. But, you know, I would rather 3-bet Queen 4, something that has a little less post-flop playability. Whereas Queen 10 is pretty playable. I don't mind. He's probably got a lot of time. He's probably got a hand that we dominate. You know, like Queen limping with like Queen 9 or Queen 8 suited, or like an 8-10 sort of thing. And it's pretty close. I don't want him to think that he can just be limping though and stabbing. I definitely don't want him to think that. So it's a pretty bad board. I mean, he probably hasn't got an ace very often, but he knows we don't have an ace very often either. So we could have gone and played a few metagame, you know, a few mind games, played some metagame and floated or put in a little raise on the flop, but I think it's a bit risky. But yeah, I don't want him to just think he can start limping. So if he limps again, I'm probably going to jack it up. And I was pretty close to doing it then, but just, you know, our hand's so playable. We keep in a lot of hands we dominate, and there's always a small chance that he actually, you know, limps and then re-raises us, which is kind of bad, obviously, because we'd be folding and didn't get to see a flop with a decent hand for the situation. So it's interesting that he did limp. Did make that adjustment. Yeah, it's just a real battle at the moment, isn't it? Yeah, the sixes are kind of just messing with my head a bit. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have been folding in normal play, but I just think with the ICM, and this happened to me recently in that spot, you know, I kind of wanted to go for it, and I didn't want to be raise folding, but you know, at the same time, he kind of cripples our stack, and he brings us right back down to that sort of just jam or fold mode. Whereas now we still have, you know, a little bit of flexibility here. So you know, we can raise fold, we can 3-bet these guys around to our right, and try a few things. It's kind of, I just don't want to stop raising, and King 6, you know, I mean, it's decent enough, I think, to be opening. So those sorts of hands, I think, King X and Ace X with blockers and that sort of thing, I'm still going to be opening, but I probably am going to play a little bit tighter with these guys behind me. Both these two with their jamming frequencies, and this guy with his, this guy actually seems pretty good, actually, this OK Collier. He actually seems quite good, I think. I think he's played probably the best of the bunch, to be honest. Yeah. But they all seem to be playing pretty well, which is obviously pretty annoying, because we would prefer them just playing like massive donkeys. But it seems like all the massive donkeys may have been eliminated, unless these guys are saving the best for last. 23 of 37. Slow going. Oh, what a river. Pocky sevens and wow. See what these guys do here. Yeah, sevens is probably. I mean, this guy. Wow. Okay, they all folded. Snap folded. I don't know if I can fold to the cutoffs jam there. It's the sevens. It's just getting a little bit too nitty, I think. He's only M6, so I would have been calling. Love to see the call on the top left. I keep saying top, but I mean, I can just say left, I think, right? You guys know what I'm talking about. There's only a left and right. Yeah, interesting to him call there, and the SPR is 1. Call the early position, and then call the 3-bet. So, could be trapping, or maybe just being a massive fish. And we can't really work it out, but I'd probably say massive fish if I had to guess, because he's check jammed on the ace, so he's probably got like ace 10 or ace jack or something, and just can't fold to 3-bets. I think I probably didn't need to bet the flop that big. It seemed, maybe I misread it. It seemed like kind of an unnecessarily large flop bet, since he's representing such a polar range and the SPR is already so bad. Yeah, I mean, he's bet 21. Whatever. It's third pot. I'm just thinking like 16 is probably enough. 17. I think. Probably does the same thing. And I don't even know why he's betting if he's got a hand like queens or something. So maybe he was just squeezing with a bit of a random one. Sorry guys, there's a bit of interruption there, and yeah, I mean it was a close one with the sixes, wasn't it? You know, I think strictly speaking, from an ICM point of view, we can fold, but I think we just set ourselves up. I mean, we're just getting run over a little bit if we lay down there with a hand that's pretty high up for a four-handed spot, for a four-handed table. And we'll actually bring up the ICMizer actually and just have a look at that hand. Just give me a second to load it up here and plug in a few values. So back to the jammy stack. And a pretty good hand. So let's just say it's the how many players are in this tournament? It's only 86 players, right? So we can probably just say it's like a 90 man with top 13 paid, even though it was top. Yeah, I mean that's not a bad representation. So we just say it's a 90 man. And plug in blinds at 18. Well, we can even, what I normally do is just leave it at 100, 200 with a 25 ante. It's kind of easy just to work off that. And I'm just going to replay that hand so we can see it. So the big blind had, the key thing really is that these guys are all kind of big stacked, and the short stack had M7, let's just say M8. So M8 would be 3, there's 400 in there, right? So M8 would be 3,200. And the other guys have all got like roughly double that. Let's just say 6,000. And we have sixes. And we just raised 425. And actually, hang on, how are we going to do this? Ooh. Yeah, I think I'm going to fold there. Yeah, so we're open and he goes all in. We open to 425, he goes all in for 3,000. And it's telling us, is that right? That can't be right. There's no way I'm calling with, not calling with 8s and 9s up. I think 6s is definitely borderline, 7s is borderline, but 8s up I'm definitely calling. I mean, we're talking about four-handed. M7. Just try and work this one out here. It says you should only push 2.1%, which also sounds ludicrous. So for some reason I think I haven't got this set up correctly. But it looks like it is though. It's a raise and then an all in. Wow. Yeah, have to shove that one. I'm just trying to work out if I'm doing something wrong here, guys. Sorry. I just can't work out why. That's not going to make any difference. Oh, wow. How do we run into that monster? That is bad timing. And the ace to boot. But not too much to really do there. And if we had won the flip, you know, it would have changed the outcome with the sixes, but, you know, that's the way it goes. I think four-handed button raise ace 8 we're always going to jam, and it's a pity we had a couple of hands before queens and aces, we didn't get action. So yeah, I mean, just didn't really go away at the end there, did it? But somehow we managed to get ourselves to fourth, so that's not too bad. We picked up a few $100, right? Yeah, 275. So, yeah, I'm just trying to work out what I'm doing wrong in this this ICM calculation, to be honest, because that does seem a bit too tight to me to be calling with that range. And I'm trying to work out why. So I might just play around with it a bit. I might change it to say it's, let's say it's the Sunday warm-up. So there's 400 in there, right? He had around him 7.5. So I guess that would be closer to 3,000. And yeah, I mean, who was it? I think the small blind actually had closer to 7, and we probably had closer to 7 as well. We raise. He goes all in. Telling us king's up. King's up, people. That makes me feel like a massive fish when I see that, but I just don't really see myself folding there, to be honest. I mean, yeah, that's a very disappointing end. That would have popped us back up nicely. Yeah, so just to finish off there, guys, probably when we alter his... I mean, the problem with this calculation right now is that it's saying he's jamming with this, which is ridiculous. And I don't even know why has it got him jamming such a tight range? I mean, this is the issue. Now we've busted this, we can focus a bit more on this. So just to finish off, let's just work this out properly. So I think, given we've been pretty active, we'd raised on his big blind a few times. I would say he's probably, excuse me, he's probably jamming around about this range. He's definitely be jamming all pairs. And this is the issue here, is this tight range. And I don't really understand why, because, yeah, anyway. I'm normally pretty good with ICM, but I just don't know. I think it's just giving everyone's ranges, just saying everyone's ranges are way too tight. I mean, we're opening a lot looser than that, and he's jamming a lot looser than that. So I would say he's probably jamming something like this. At least. I mean, at least. And now the sixes are a call. So I would have, that's about what I would have thought, is that he would be, I mean, this would be borderline. And I would have thought that fives would be perhaps a fold. For me, sixes were probably right about where I would probably call down to. But this is, we can call with fives as well, based on that range. And I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, that looks pretty reasonable. I mean, when you've got a cutoff guy opening who's been opening a lot, and you're in the big blind with M7 and it's four-handed, this is a pretty tight jamming range. I mean, a lot of guys would actually probably be looking more at like a, you know, I mean, he was on the tight side. That's why I've given him that range. But I honestly think a lot of guys would be jamming sort of, you know, closer to this range, I think. And it does depend. I mean, he might have a calling range as well, a few hands that he might call with. And now we can call down to fours. So, you know, I think that's seems yeah, I mean, that seems about right if it was a very loose player. But I probably wouldn't call ace-8 off and fours against a loose player. But anyway, yeah, just to clarify that, because yeah, I don't know, a bit tired and just out of the zone there for a bit, guys, and glad we sorted it out. So yeah, I mean, the sixes call is definitely close. I would make it again, because I mean, I just don't want to be race folding down much more. I mean, we've got a hand that's pretty good for a four-handed game, pocket sixes, and considering we've been opening so much, and we had been open folding a bit, so we didn't want the other players to think it was open season on us and just jam our raises all the time. We took a stand in a sort of borderline spot and lost a flip, and had we won it, it could have been a different story. We would have been three-handed and chip leader, but as it turned out, we lost that and then ran into the aces. So bit disappointing in the end, and a slightly losing day, I think, overall after that. And then the big 27 bust out there, obviously lost that flip too. So yeah, I mean, overall, I thought I played okay today for the most part. I did get a bit tight at the end, but things just didn't really go away. We did get a couple of lucky hands, I guess, but yeah, it was close, no cigar, and we'll come back for more next time.
Apologies for the interruptions there, guys. But as I've said from the start of this series, this is just about what I go through online every day and how I build a bankroll and make a living from poker. And so, I don't make any excuses for sort of whether I'm sometimes miss some recording, whether my family appears and there's sounds or friends, or if I have to eat or something like that, or for whatever reason if I'm tired. But, that's what this series is all about, is just the honest truth of what I go through and what I'm thinking about and all of that sort of thing. So that's what you're seeing. And, probably not a great session put together there, but we almost got out of jail with a big, well, not a big score, but a solid score at the end, but just fell a little bit short. So it wasn't quite a profitable session. And it's actually just put us, if we have a look here, how are we doing for the series, 15 sessions in now? $39,762. That's including, of course, the $2,000 that we started off with. So we are almost at $40,000. But I said I was going to make $42,000. But of course, we are only around 1/4 of the way through our challenge, and we are roughly already there at our target of making just over, well, $42,000. So you have to be happy about that. But stay tuned. There's still a lot of good stuff coming up, including 100 rebuy victory and some other interesting tournaments with a lot of, I think really interesting spots, some good decisions, and just a lot of fun, and hopefully some good entertainment for you guys. So even though we're almost at the number that we set out to achieve, make sure you follow this one through, and who knows, maybe it'll help you to build your own bankroll in the future. I hope that's the case. Enjoy. This has been Aces Up for PokerNerve.com. I'll see you next time.